Okay, so I think we can go ahead and get started. First off, I just want to thank everyone for taking the time out of your busy days to sit with us today for this administrative page overview. As a quick introduction, my name is Ashley Cisco and I'm on the account management team. On the line, we also have Alexa Healy and Grace Hall from the team as well. Now, the purpose of this webinar is to review the account administrative page with account administrators who have or would like to have administrative access over your organization's RELSI users. The goal of today's webinar is to review the different tabs and functionality included on the administrator page. Now, if you're not currently an account administrator, but feel that you should be, please reach out to your dedicated account manager, whether Grace, Alexa, or myself, and we'd be happy to discuss further. We will be leaving time for a Q&A session at the end, so please feel free to type your questions as they come within the question box, and we'll answer them during that Q&A portion. Now, previous webinars covered core tools and supplementary tools for both for-profit and nonprofit clients. If you would like to rewatch any of those previous trainings, you could do so on the RELSI training tab here at the top of your account. This is also where you can register for any upcoming webinars as well. Alternatively, if you would like a more individualized training for you and your team, you can always reach out to Grace, Alexa, or myself to coordinate that. Now, last but not least, before we get started, after today's session, you will be receiving a short survey on today's webinar. We would appreciate just 60 seconds of your time. We do go through all of the responses and feedback. So if you have any feedback or future webinar topics that you'd like covered, feel free to put it within that section on the survey. So let's get started. If you have administrator access, you will see this administrator page at the top right of your RELSI screen. Again, if you don't have it but feel that you should, reach out to your account administrator and we could set that up for you. Now, an administrator is someone who has a holistic view of their team's RELSI accounts in terms of relationships, alert settings, and more. Admin access can be granted over specific individual users, groups of users, or the whole firm's user base. So as an example, maybe you're a junior banker, an administrator for an MD. We could grant admin access over that one MD's account for you. Alternatively, maybe you lead a TMT team and you want to have access over all of those users within RELSI. We could do it that way. And then the last possible method is if you're the primary contact between your organization and RELSI, we could grant administrative access over the whole firm's user base as well. Now, having admin access allows you to view current users, assist or log in as specific users, see relationship counts, upload relationships on behalf of individuals, upload internal IDs if that's applicable, and then also update alert settings on behalf of users. Now, this first tab that we are seeing here allows you to see which current users are enabled with RELSI access that you have admin access over. So again, they're current within RELSI, they have an active seat, and you are tagged as their administrator. So this page allows you to see their names as they appear on their RELSI accounts, their usernames to log into RELSI, and which groups they were created under. Now, there are no specific action points or functionality with this page. It's just giving you an overview of which users are current and which users you have access over. But if we navigate here to this second tab, relationships, this is showing the total relationship count for each user, their number, their number of potential relationships. It gives you the ability to upload contacts in bulk and also allows you to review potential matches. Now let's start with uploading contacts. As an admin, you have two different options for uploading relationships on behalf of your team. So if you're interested in uploading a contact file on behalf of just one of your users, the easiest method would be to assist into their individual accounts with this bar /toggle at the top. So monthly webinar account, this is my account, but maybe here, Alexa, she's on my team. Maybe she sent me her LinkedIn contacts and asked if I can upload on her behalf. When I click her name from the dropdown, I am now in Alexa's account, and that is easily distinguished with that red banner to alert me that I'm now in a user's account. So within her account, this is where we could do the typical upload contacts process, which would add those LinkedIn relationships directly to Alexa's specific account so that they appear as if they're her relationships and not my relationships. Now, assisting into accounts is also helpful if you want to create additional 360 alerts on behalf of the user. Maybe they want to follow specific industries, or maybe they have client lists they want to set up. Again, maybe they're more senior and they need help with this. Assisting into their account would allow me to customize this user's 360 alerts. Additionally, if the user is prepping for a meeting and you want to export out the profiles of their meeting attendees by going to the profiles here at the top, this would then allow you to export those relationship reports or path reports as if they were coming from Alexa's relationships. So again, it might be helpful to export from her account so it's her point of view on where she has these different connections. Now you could change to different user accounts by using this toggle at the top again. I can go to a different user. I can also exit this page by clicking back on my specific account or just clicking on the administrator page again. So again, that method is really helpful if you have maybe 1 or 2 different contact files for users. Because if you have 50 different LinkedIn files for 50 different people, obviously it's not realistic or scalable to go one by one into the accounts. So that's where on this relationship tab again, we can click this upload contacts button here. Now, this is great if you have an export of your firm's CRM or Outlook contacts and you want to upload in mass for multiple users at once instead of doing it one by one, assisting into accounts. Now, there's a template on this point number 1. So let me open this template to show. If you're familiar with uploading contacts or lists, the template will look very familiar. Let me just drag it over to this page. Looks very familiar, where you would complete it with the contacts information. So as a refresher, we typically recommend completing first name, last name, a company affiliation. It could be a prior affiliation, it could be a board that they sit on. Alternatively, if you have email address, we also look at the email domains. But the one column that looks different is just this username column here. So username will typically be the email address of the specific user that you're trying to upload relationships for. Now, I will mention that each contact should have its own separate line item, including spouses. So as an example, if Grace, Alexa, and I are all connected to Bill Gates, those should be 3 separate line items. So Bill Gates listed 3 times. And then the username will be Alexa's email, my email, Grace's email, in order to upload Bill Gates on behalf of the 3 of us. And again, spouses, it wouldn't say the 2 people in first name. It should be broken out onto the different tabs or onto the different rows here. And again, username is typically the email address, but that's where this user tab also comes into play because it does show usernames as well there. But you can also reach out to your account administrator, Grace, Alexa, or myself, and we can also just confirm. Now, generally, when uploading relationships in bulk, we always say to stick with files that are less than 10,000 line items. You could separate out the relationship files into separate files for uploading if it is more than that. For example, there was one file that I was uploading that was hundreds of thousands of line items. So I do have a quote like script that I can run to separate it. So if you need help with that, you could reach out to your account manager and we can help you separate those files for uploading. But once that template is complete with the CRM or the Outlook contacts and all of the usernames information, you will save it as a CSV file, and then you would just choose the file location and start the process. Now, uploading relationships could take a little bit of time depending on how big your CSV file is. Now, on this relationship tab, you could also review potential matches. So when uploading a file of relationships, those successful matches will automatically sync and save as relationships under each of the user's RELSI accounts. For contacts that couldn't be automatically matched, maybe the last name is different, maybe the company is different, maybe we're not sure if we have them profiled, RELSI has potential matches that you could manually review if interested and if time allows. So if you would like to review potential matches on behalf of just one of the users, you could do that assist method and go into their account and review it there. But alternatively, you could do it in bulk on this page. So it will show you here the associated user is Grace Hall. Here's the specific contact. Here's profiles that we think it could match to. And she could choose, or I could choose here, okay, it is this specific Todd from G2 Investment Group, or maybe there's no match here. So again, this functionality is available if you do want to review potential matches. It depends. I've seen some companies have people go through and review, some just leave them and just review or use the successful matches that saved within the profiles. Scrolling back up, this next tab is Internal IDs. Now, RELSI has the ability to allow you to upload your own internal IDs to save within RELSI profiles. This functionality is helpful if you are exporting out RELSI data and you want to easily map it back to your database. It's also helpful when uploading contacts for users. For example, if you have an internal ID that was matched to Bill Gates and you're uploading a contact file that includes Bill's internal ID for 10 different employees, because internal ID is already matched to Bill's profile, it will automatically match that contact to those specific user accounts. Now, if you're unsure if this capability is enabled for your firm, or you want it, you know it's not enabled, reach out to Grace, Alexa, or myself, and we can enable this functionality for you. So this tab here, the Internal IDs tab, this will just show if you or another colleague uploaded internal IDs. So it will show here the name within RELSI, our own entity ID associated with the person or organization, and then your firm's internal ID that's matched. I will also mention we have a Salesforce plugin and an API solution that could assist with the internal IDs here. So if you are interested in exploring these additional solutions, reach out to your account administrator, account manager, and we will further explore with you. But here within the Internal IDs tab, I can also upload identifiers. It looks very similar to the relationship one that we just saw. So this template, if we open it, looks identical. The last column, instead of showing username, will now just include an internal ID column where you can put your associated internal IDs. And if you're uploading internal IDs for a company, organization, you would just complete the company column here. If you have city, state, zip, website is one-to-one, in ticker symbol, those will improve the match rate, but they're not required. So it's the same process where I just save the file as a CSV, choose the file location, and then start the process here. Again, I would stick to less than 10,000 line items per each file. And depending on how big the file is, it could take a little bit of time to upload within the system. And you can also, similar to relationships, review potential matches from these uploads as well. Now the last tab is alert settings here. So as you're probably aware, our 360 News feature emails users daily digest emails of their top news headlines for the day. so that if they aren't logging into RelSci that day, they can still stay updated on what their clients, targets, contacts are all up to in the news. So this alert settings page here allows you to turn on and off those digest emails for different users. So Alexa, right now, she's set up to get them. My 2 accounts, I turned them off. So here, instead of having to go into each person's account, I could do it all on one page. It also allows you to change the frequency from daily, weekly, or again, none for these users. So maybe Alexa reaches out. It's a lot of emails she's seeing every day. She wants me to change it to weekly. I could do so here within the frequency column. And then lastly, you can turn on email forwarding. I will mention you can only turn this on for users that have active RelSci accounts and that you have administrative access over. So here within this column, I could say, okay, send Alexa's Daily Digest emails just to this user. Maybe send it to the user and myself. Again, maybe I'm the administrative assistant and I want to go through these emails as well as Alexa to see what her clients or targets are up to. And then the last option is send the email only to me. So maybe Alexa's really busy, these emails are just bombarding her. I can send it just to my specific email address. I can review her headlines and then send her a snippet of what I think she should know for that day. So this concludes the administrative page overview. If there are additional questions or training requests that we don't get to in the Q&A portion here, always reach out to Grace, Alexa, or myself. We're always happy to connect and further review if you need a more individualized session. So at this time, I will hand it over to Alexa and Grace to review any questions that came in. So if you haven't submitted yet, feel free to type out your questions within the applicable questions box, and they'll go through those questions now.
Thank you, Ashley. As she said, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in and we'll answer them. We haven't received any questions yet. So either feel free to type them in the box or email your account manager if you have a private question or want us to go more in depth. But yes, so any questions, type them in.
Okay, I think since we haven't received any questions, we can end this webinar here. You will be receiving the survey. It also will include a recording of today's session, so if you'd like to pass it along to anyone, feel free to do so. And if any questions come up after this, reach out to one of us and we'd be happy to further connect. Thank you everyone so much for your time, and we will be in touch and look forward to seeing you at future sessions.